Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus Pimp Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, with a Royale review for Girlfriend, Season 1, Episode 5. I think this is Episode 5. I hope this is Episode 5. Because right now I'm watching it on Pluto, and the episodes are a little out of order. So it's labeled as Episode 4. I think I'm here, but it's actually Episode 5. Either way, the correct episode title and all of that will be on the title of the video when I upload it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the specificity of the episode. We start off at Joan's office, and Joan is going through paperwork and everything, getting herself together for whatever it is she has to do for the day. And Maya is posted up in the door, clearly got a trick up her sleeve, honey. She stepped in talking about, what are you doing? And John is like, working. And Maya goes into this whole spiel talking about, oh, would you rather be doing that or making billions and billions of dollars laid out on the side of a beach in a hammock, da da da. So I was going through this whole thing. Y'all know Maya is always looking for the next big thing to get into. That's like her running gag at the moment. Every episode, she is into something new. The last episode, it was conspiracy theories. This one, she got a pyramid scheme. And the pyramid scheme consists of her saying that it's called a circle of gold. And you send one person $100 and then a bunch of other people send you $100 and everybody get their money like that. Now, honey, that don't sound secure. That sounds unstable. And Joan is basically trying to tell her that that sounds unstable. It also sounds illegal. Sounds like a pyramid scheme. And Maya's like, no, it's an amazing business opportunity, another source of income. You know how I go. And she got the voice down packed. The voice, the energy, all that down packed. So we can see in this moment that Maya has some charisma that shows potential to be, a pretty good salesperson, advertiser, businesswoman of some sort. Okay, so let's see how that progresses and evolves throughout the seasons. But yeah, Joan tells her, baby, that sounds like a felony. And of course, Joan has the legal background and education and a job to put her on game. Like, ma'am, I don't think that's something that you need to be engaging in, and it's not something that I want to engage in. But you do what you do. Now, ain't that something, Maya walking around here peddling something that is unsavory and possibly illegal around the headquarters for lawyers? And peddling it to her lawyer friend. Now, baby, this could be a sign from God. Like, hey, I put you right here for this to be your friend and for you to be working with her. She's trying to put you on game, and you just determined to go in the opposite direction. Bless her heart. But Maya makes an interesting point. After Joan dismisses her, and then she's like, fine. You don't want to do it? I won't. You won't have to twist my arm. It's all good. I want to tell you anyway. And like I said, she walks off, and Joan tells her she needs the notes from Daniel's notes, or whatever. I guess that's a case that Joan is supposed to be working on. And she's telling Maya that she needs the notes from it. So Maya's like, okay, look, I tell you. And that's when she goes down the whole spiel. And then Joan has to dismiss her again with the legal jargon and say that it's a felony. So Maya then says, oh, yeah, of course. It's a felony. When black people do it trying to get their hustle on, it's a felony. But when white people do it, it's Wall Street. Tisk. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't all the most educated in things of that nature. I know a few things concerning the fact that it is also unsavory and illegal when people in Wall Street do it. They just tend to get away with it more, And then according to the Wolf of Wall Street, it's something that you might want to stop while you're ahead, It's some other things that I learned concerning the pyramid schemes, quote unquote, what does they call those, MLMs or whatever, what have you. You have to actually be selling something, and you can't be false advertising, and there has to be a process and paperwork that allows for, like, higher ups and government or whatever to be able to do checks and balances about what's being sold, the validity of it, and how the money is being dispersed and taxed and all that, which can also be a double-edged sword. But yeah, if you have more information on how that works, the differences between, brokering and Wall Street and all of that, and the pyramid schemes, and what's legal, what's not, what's just unsavory and unethical and all this stuff, drop it in the comments. Educate us, okay? Is Joan absolutely correct? Is Maya absolutely correct? Or are they both correct? And it's just a time, a place, and a way to go about things. Let us know. But yeah, so after Maya is dismissed for the final time and she decides to flip it on Joan and dismiss her, it goes to the opening credit scene. And then we come to, like, the actual opening scene of the episode. And real quick, I love one series. I feel like this used to happen a lot more back in the day. I think it's some shows that still do it, but I love when we get a like faux opening scene, and it pretty much kind of like on reality shows where you have the actual scenes and then it'll go to commercial, and then in the middle of the commercial break they'll show like little miscellaneous scenes of the cast members and people just doing like little other stuff outside of the storyline, and then it'll go back to commercial and then go back to the show type shit. So I feel like when shows do this, a lot of times, specifically how Girlfriends is doing it, when they open it up with their faux opening scene, it's really just kind of a miscellaneous scene, just showing like just little casual everyday life type stuff, and it seems like it has nothing to do with the rest of the episode. But if you're actually cognizant to the discussions that are going on and other little signs and symbols that are present, you see that that faux opening scene is not only, showing some casual everyday life shit, but it's also setting up the theme of the episode. And I'm gonna explain further how they did that in this particular episode. And I might end up making some retrospective videos of sorts to break things like that down further. But when we get into the actual opening scene of this episode, we hear the continuing theme and conversation about money. Money, as well as I don't know if I would call it stereotypes or racial differences and disparages and things of that nature, but just roll with me. I know that faux opening scene, like I said, they were just talking about pyramid schemes, money, businesses, and the classism and the racism that can exist with that as well. Stereotypical stigmas and all that. So, money and race pick up in this actual opening scene, and they have just finished up with dinner. It's Joan and Tony, and they're putting their dishes in the sink and everything, and Tony is talking about somebody just pulled out of a realtoring child. Tony was trying to sell a house, and her client pulled out. She was right there, hooking them in, reeling them in, and boom, they broke the fishing line, goddamn. And she feeling ass out. And if I'm hearing correctly, I believe she said it's the Laurel Canyon house. And she says that Rerun used to say, and that Rerun is a character from an old TV show called What's Happening. I believe it was a 70s TV show, somewhere between the 70s and 80s. I think it was 70s. But, and of course she means the guy, the actor who played Rerun. He just gets that label, you do something so well and for so long, people will call you by your character name. So she like, yeah, the one that Rerun used to stay in. And I feel like those things are symbolic as well because of the way that she said it. Now, again, when I get into the retrospectives of it all, I would have done more research on some of these references that are coming up and being talked about, because it's definitely not there for no reason. And with the theme that's going on, I'm curious to know, like, what's that little, it's some little innuendo, nonverbal things going on there that I'm not able to really connect the dots on. But it seems like some racial disparages going on when it comes to homes that Tony is trying to sell, and also the fact that Tony is who she is and looks how she looks. So yeah, that would take me to have to do some research on racism, colorism, and other racial discriminatory things, culture discriminatory things and such that go on in the realtor industry. But if you got information on it, hey, drop it in the comments. But basically, this is getting in the way of Tony being able to do what she do as she do it. She is doing well for herself, but she's still in a place of building. And she is worried about her Range Rover being repossessed. And that leads her to basically asking Joan, can she borrow $1,000? And in the midst of this part of the conversation, we get like more clues that Tony is also living above her means, committing to contracts from things that she buys, very expensive things that she buys that come with more things to be paid for, maintenance, notes, all of that. And she not getting it how she trying to live for real. She out here flossing, fronting and flotting. And John tells her, baby, they should repossess it because you rode way out of your range when you leased that thing. What is wrong with you? Doing stuff that is financially irresponsible. Because you want instant gratification. You want people to see that you got it, as opposed to you actually having it. And taking the time out to not only do what you need to do to get it, but also to maintain it. And that's wild, because a lot of people don't think about that, specifically when it comes to buying cars and buying houses. Okay, just paying for it is the first step. You have to maintain it. And that comes with notes, bills, maintenance, literally maintenance. Shit happens. It gotta be fixed. Reoccurring things, changing oil, rotating tires. Like, people don't be thinking, honey. People don't be thinking. They be thinking, but they don't be thinking about the right shit. And Tony tell her, baby, why do you want to condemn me to a Camry? Joan said, what you mean? I drive a Camry. Hell, I drive a Camry. Camrys are nice cars, baby. They also last quite long. Shout out to Toyota, okay? Camrys are slept on. They cute, okay? They got some good speed on them as well. You can swoop them up, have them looking real sophisticated and sassy, sporty even. Something. Like, Camrys are that girl. But nah, you don't hear them get rapped about in the hot new songs and carrying on. You don't see them being used as trophies when it comes to the bling bling lifestyle of it all. Ain't nobody tell you that it's the top notch car, so that ain't what you want. Child, see, be thinking, but don't be thinking about the right shit. Plus, a lot of Camrys hold gas very well. Like, they don't be running out of gas all fast and shit. And it don't be taking all that much to fill them up either. But Tony continues to shade her, and it's like, girl, right, you drive a Camry, so you should understand my pain. No. She understands that you tripping. And Joan's response allows us to further understand why Joan is so adamant about letting her know what it is and what it's gonna be, honey. Just loaned you money last month to pay on this car. And now you here back asking for more because you steady making irresponsible decisions? No, ma'am. If I keep paying for your mess ups, you gonna continue to mess up with the safety net in your head that I'm gonna always be there to save you. No, ma'am. You got to grow up. You got to be more careful. But turn the time out, what are we considering an early birthday gift? No. Consider yourself the fuck out my baby. No. Joan goes about telling her, look, I'll do you this number here. Your boy, which is Joan's dude, I don't know why I'm spacing on what his name is right now, but the guy that Joan is dating with the big hips, Marcus, that's his name. She said, Marcus just quit on his realtor because he ain't liking how they handling business and whatnot. And he is looking for a new home. So look like the perfect match. And here we get another sub-theme implemented. I don't know if I call it a sub-theme, but it's another little theme implemented into the branch of money and race going on here. And that is love and money, and or mixing money with pleasure, extracurricular relationships. So like in the faux opening scene, you have Maya and Joan's mixing of business and pleasure, if you will, because Joan and Maya are friends, but they also work together, okay? And here, Joan is dating Marcus, and Tony needs a business deal. Marcus needs a business deal. So Joan is playing money matchmaker with Marcus and Tony, whereas Marcus and Joan were match made through online dating service. But Tony says, baby, he been looking for a realtor and you put me on game? I'm hurt, but I could get over it for $1,000. See, look, she trying to put you on game right now, and you just want the instant gratification of it all. That's your problem. Tisk. So Joan says, you know, they always say that you hurt the ones that you love, and I'm just gonna tell you, shawty, I love you. I love when Joan puts her foot down. And in that time, Lynn walks in, and I guess she entered from the laundry room door. Honey, this is my first time noticing that was even an entrance, or even the laundry room right there. So yeah, I guess Lynn entered from the laundry room door, and she got romaine lettuce, then slammed it on the counter talking about, yo, I'm here, ready for dinner. I brought the lettuce for the salad. And Joan turns around and says, baby, you are late. Dinner is over. What you mean? And she like, dang, what are you talking about? Fuck, I'm late. Y'all can just wait. She said, baby, dinner started at 8. You like a good 2 hours late. And Tony's like, yeah, baby, you's always late. And I know because I be fashionably late, and you show up after me. And Lynn said, baby, I'm fashionably late too. Tony said, not the way you dress. And I ain't gonna lie. It's some outfits I like that Lynn be putting together, but this one right here, child, Tony ain't tell nothing but the truth. And they both going in like, honey, you was always on CP time. And Lynn like, oh no, I know y'all ain't playing up the stereotypes that because I'm black, I'm always showing up late. And Joan says, well, since you are half white, then I guess half of you's early, half of you's late. Which, in that case, as a biracial, you should be right on time. And Lynn laughs it off in the flex and is like, what you doing here anyway? Shouldn't you be out with Marcus? And she said what I was thinking. Why she gotta be out with Marcus? She gotta go out with Marcus every night? But in a way, I guess if they're in a honeymoon phase, then that kind of would be going on some normal shit, like how things normally go. But at the same time, still, they ain't gotta go out every night. She ain't gotta be with him every day just because they dating. But they know Joan. So when Joan says this, Lynn says, she don't like him no more. And Tony makes a face that says she agrees. Yeah, no, she ain't fucking with him no more. And so what you mean? He's so nice. He calls and sends wonderful messages. He sends me a bunch of flowers. He reads the whole newspaper, and he always let the toilet seat down. And Lynn tell her, baby, save that for your wedding vows. I'm not hearing the passion. Why are you still with this man? And Tony talking about because her best friend is broke, and she gonna hook me up with a deal with him. Girl, please. But John is talking about I'm still with him and I like him because he likes me. Girl. So what? You bought a pair of shoes. What now? I guess you think I owe you. You don't have to call as much as you do. I give them back to be through with you. And so what? My mama likes you. What now? I guess you think I will too. Even if the Pope said he likes you too. I don't give a damn cause you're a bugaboo. He's a bugaboo, a bugaboo. That's what it's giving. It's giving a couple of things, but that is what it's giving. And it's like, shouty. You don't have to like him just because he like you, but I think a lot of girls have gotten caught up in that and do get caught up in that, feeling required to return the favor because what if you can't do no better? Or what if he gets mad and feels cheated and all this other stuff just because you reject him? Being too male-centered, or being too caught up in the conditioning of being male-centered and prioritizing their feelings and their needs and desires over your own. And that's great, you know, that he has a lot of good attributes that will make a good father and a good husband. But if he don't make you feel the passion that you want, then it just ain't given. Let him go be great for who he's supposed to be great for. And you just wait, contemplate, and attract your great man, the one that is meant to be great for you. And she goes on talking about maybe she can learn to love him. If that don't sound like some 1930s shit. But I think that's also giving us some indication on some of the dynamics of Joan's own parents who are divorced. And it seems like Joan is doing a thing that a lot of people do where they're trying so hard to not repeat a hurtful cycle. And by doing so, they are actually repeating it mindlessly because you're not taking into account what may have led your parents to getting divorced, which is getting married in the first place for the wrong reasons, thinking that they just gonna learn to deal with it. And what they learned is that it wasn't worth it. We shouldn't have done this. And I'm gonna head out. Shout out to everybody. I had fun. Like, tisk! But that's a deeper conversation for another time. And the way Joan's character and storyline is set up, we'll definitely pop in and out of that conversation quite a bit throughout all of these reviews because that's kind of Joan's arc. Like, it's a large part of Joan's story and character arc. Her trying so very hard to avoid a hurtful cycle, toxic cycle of her family and her parents and all of that, that she don't pay attention to what led them there and ends up repeating a lot of the mistakes. But yeah, so we don't get too ahead of ourselves. Lynn tells her, no, baby, no. You grow to love anchovies, opera, certain types of bondage. And real quick on that, I know that Lynn means sexual bondage, like BDSM, but that whole imprisoning yourself to a relationship because you feel obligated and hopefully you'll learn to love the person, that is also a form of bondage. Okay, because let me take it back real quick. So a lot of our grandmothers, great-great-grands and all of that, they didn't really have no choice in who they married, right? And a lot of them had to get married for, quote unquote, the wrong reasons that were right for them due to the lack of rights that they had in the first place. So really, in order to survive, they had to marry the first rich thing smoking, the first thing that loved them, because they trying not to get got by these other way more terrible men. And they ain't trying to be out here broke and battered, you know, in the world, child, right? And so they had to, quote unquote, learn to love the man that they had through whatever the disparages were. And when you hear a lot of those stories, the way that they learn to love them is, and this is also, I'm also thinking about arranged marriage, like actual arranged marriage is also a way that they learn to love them. And even some of the men, when they tell their stories, the way that they learn to love their wife is somebody got sick or hurt and the other one had to take care of them. And that's how they learn to love them. And that's great, that's cool and all, but at the same time, that's not necessarily like love. That's you over giving out of gratitude and a trauma bond. And again, you can be grateful for somebody and things that they did for you without feeling like you owe them your soul. You know? So yeah, bondage, trauma, bondage. So I don't really think it's so much so that they like learn to love each other for real. Maybe in some cases, but if it came as a result of trauma, that's a trauma bond. That's not, no. That's not healthy, and that sets up a pattern of a whole lot of shit. But again, so we don't get too ahead of ourselves and off track, continuing on through this particular scene. Lynn tells her, with a guy, with a man that you're trying to be romantically involved with, you want to feel like you head over heels. And Joan says, baby, the last time I was head over heels, I landed flat on my ass. Tony says, that's because you wasn't doing it right. But that is another clue that Joan is trying to hold on to this man because she feels like she won't be able to do no better. Like she just got to be grateful for whatever she get because she might not get nothing else. And that is unfortunate. But it does also bring to light another theme that is going on here. Another sub-theme, which I've already said the word, but it's been solidified to me that it is also a theme that is laced within both love and money. And that is instant gratification. So while Maya is seeking some instant gratification from the new world that she's in, and also the pyramid schemes of it all, and all of her different little extracurricular activities that she has each episode. Joan is also seeking some instant gratification in the world of love. Okay, okay. But just hold that thought. We transition on to the next scene. We pick up back at the office with Joan and Maya. And Maya seems to have another scheme going on. And she's telling Joan, when this thing takes off big, I'm not going to forget where I come from. I'm not going to forget those that uplifted me when I needed uplifting. Okay? Even if they were a couple of naysayers, I know it's all love, so it's all love. And Joan says, oh, thank you, Maya. I was really hung up over that. And Maya says, but just know, if I hit the Powerball tonight, consider this my 2 weeks. A mess. But this how you know they friends for real, because she had said that to another type of boss. Honey, ain't no telling where she be at this point, right? And again, more things that indicate instant gratification, like the lottery. Interesting. Okay, so she's walking out, and William is walking in with this big old thing of flowers. He said it ended up mistakenly going to his office, and he would assume that they are for Joan, unless Marcus is now calling him his Nubian queen. William silly. And Joan is like, oh, yay, more flowers, okay. And William goes on saying, I got flowers from a girl once. And Maya says, from your mama. He like, no, actually, this chick had spotted me at a wedding. We had an amazing connection. And she just threw them at me and I caught them. Joan catches it and says, honey, you was catching a bouquet at a wedding. He said, look, I'm a ball player. It's in my nature. William, please. In this moment, Marcus walks in. Okay, now this would kind of get on my nerves and also alarm me, because Joan already had flowers that he sent in her office posted up. You can kind of see them just around in the background and everything. So then you send her another bundle of flowers. Okay, cool, cute. Can we get some creativity? Like, thank you, but it's giving try hard. And also, don't get me wrong, apply pressure, right? Me personally, can I get some creativity? Okay, you send flowers. Can the next thing be lunch that you send, or you show up and bring lunch instead of just flower? And I don't really like to get flowers anyway, unless you're going to plant some. Okay, you're going to send me some potted flowers. You're going to plant me some flowers in my yard. It's just because, baby, you giving me something that's going to die in a couple of days, and I just don't really understand. That's just me. I just don't understand. So if you're going to give me some flowers, I would prefer that they be planted. Otherwise, I would prefer a piece of jewelry, food, a nice outing, paint and sip, let's go to a museum, movies, send me a portrait. Joan likes art. Send her some art. Okay, but yeah, he done sent 50 little flowers, and no, they are nice. They are really nice. I would highly appreciate it, because he's sending them in some nice cases too, that could be reused. So that I would definitely appreciate as well. It's just weird when you send them back to back, and then you show up, out of nowhere. You didn't call first, and like Maya said when he stepped in, Marcus, listen, I know y'all like this here, but you are not on her calendar. You cannot just be walking up here all willy-nilly. Okay, you got to go through Maya first. She's the assistant. She is security. She is the mama. You overstepping your boundaries, okay? But Joan talks her down and lets her know that it is okay, even though in a way it's really not. Joan just don't want to be rude. And Marcus says, my bad, am I interrupting something? And William is like, no, we're just doing whatever we can to avoid practicing law for as long as we can. They disperse, and Joan walks up, gives him a hug and everything, and he's like, I was just in the neighborhood, and I decided to bring you something by. Look, it's a cute little phone. And she says, oh, thanks, you got me a cell phone. He says, no, it's a Joan phone. Yes, and I got one too that matches. And she's like, okay, but what is all this for? Because I already got a phone, and I already got your cell phone, your work phone, your home phone number, your pager number. What is all of this? And he's like, yeah, but now you can use that phone, and whenever you call, I know that it's precisely you. Now, look, I do give people special ringtones so that I can automatically know who's calling. And that's just because phone calls in general give me anxiety. And I gotta have my notifications on because it just does something for me. And so I want to know, should I be urgent when I hear the specific tone, or if I can just, let that be. That's just me. But what he's doing is giving love bombing, and he could have the greatest intents. Either way, it's giving love bombing, and whether he realizes it or not, it's giving controlling. And I'll break that down as we go through. But he goes on to say, she's acting all excited and all of that. And he asks her if she's good for lunch. Can they go to lunch? And that's sweet. That's cool. And I did say, hey, can you send some food? Can you bring lunch? Whatever, what have you. And she's like, nah, I'm swamped. I ain't gonna be able to do it today. And he's like, it's cool. Okay, I'll say to see you later and all of that. Now, the reason I feel like this is love bombing and it's a bit controlling, whether he's intended to be or not, is because, again, you sending stuff back to back to back to back. So you're trying to control how she feels about you, and you're not giving her the time to just sit and think and form her own independent thoughts and feelings. You're kind of trying to force the feelings on her and make sure for a fact that she is constantly thinking about you because you got some type of insecurity going on, and you want her to be thinking about you all day, every day, which is why you're constantly sending her stuff all day, every day. And then you pop up. That's weird. And it's like you pop up to make it harder for her to say no when you ask her, can I go to lunch? And then it's like you also trying to see what she doing at work. And again, you're trying to make sure that you stay on her mind, that she don't have time to not think about you or to think anything bad about you, you know? Then you come over here and give her this phone. And then that's going to turn into I call the phone. Where's the phone? Where's the phone? You know, using the phone to keep her on a yo-yo. And it's like she already got a phone. So then there's this possession thing that comes into play. And we'll get back to that possession thing as we go throughout the episode. But yeah, she starts to lead him out. And they bid each other adieu. He's very giddy. She's very awkwardly trying to play giddy, but like perturbed, child. Perturbed and disturbed. But he leaves, and she's still standing out by Maya's desk, and William is still standing there. So she tells them, hey, look, y'all, he got me a phone. And Maya says, if I'm not mistaken, and I heard correctly, he got you a Joan phone. Yeah. And Joan says, baby, what am I going to do about this guy? Like, he's doing a whole lot. He's not really giving me the space to be the girl. Gender roles. Now, again, I already told y'all how I feel about the situation. I'm low-key high-key seeing both sides. But I don't like the gender role thing. It's a time and a place. But sketchy. Because, John, baby, you don't give yourself the space to be the girl. William started getting on her. And it's like, I don't understand you. Like, what is it giving? You finally find a man that meets your absurd list of criteria. Hell, you finally find a man. Damn, William. I'm here for your speech. But you're revalidating her insecurities already. She already feel like she got to just settle for this man because she feel like she ain't gonna do no better. Damn. But he like, you finally get a man that checks off everything on your list and it's still an issue. Like, okay, yeah, he's a little bit of a, and John says, a stalker, because William referenced back to what a girl had called him. I guess they had called him a stalker, honey. And he says, clingy is what I was going for. Okay, you're a clingy stalker. But yeah, he like, you finally get what you've been asking for and you're still unsatisfied. I think you just don't like when a man treats you well for real. And no woman does. Now, hold up, William. That is not true. Okay? That is not true. Are there people in the world who have been overly normalized to trauma and pain as toxic love languages that really aren't love languages, but they've been taught that it's love and they get hung up in that, and so they don't know no better and they so comfortable in the chaos that they want to allow themselves to know no better? Absolutely. There are people like that. Not just women, not just men, but both. There are people that are like that, okay? So stop the madness. There are very much so a plethora of women in the world who genuinely want to be treated well, okay? It just takes some people to learn what that means. But also, like I said before, just because he checks off a couple of things on the list don't mean that she got to stick with it. Because, okay, he got these certain physical, material things, but the vibe is still important. The soul connection is still important. And that is what is lacking. And John pretty much tells him the same thing. Like, look, I love flowers. I love all of the things, but I don't want my office to be looking like somebody died either. And William says, see, look at you. Man, buy your flowers and you turn it into a funeral. Just face it, I think y'all got some self-esteem issues. You don't like when a man treats you well for real. Maya says, baby, he must be talking about you, John, because I got a husband. Well, Maya, honey, congrats and all of that, but at the same time, we don't give you too much because your husband be treating you some types of ways also. But we'll handle that when we get there. Because we're talking about John right now, right? And John further emphasizes saying, look, I am not some insecure masochist. I just want him to slow down. And I feel that, child, slow down. Even though I do kind of feel like there is a percentage in John that is so used to men being player, like used to men being manipulative. I even feel like there's a certain level of manipulativeness that's necessary as a lawyer. And so Joan being a lawyer, she's surrounded by that a lot, and it creates this normalcy. So in certain ways, I feel like Joan is like a fish in water when it comes to manipulative men, being around and interacting with manipulative men. And I think that Marcus it's kind of hard to tell. I think he's mindlessly manipulative, but it's in a different way. It's not in a smooth type of way. He's corny. And I think Joan likes suave, manipulative men. Men who will act like, perform their love and like for her. I think she's very used to that. And the way that Marcus goes about it is just very different to her, and therefore it makes it uncomfortable to her. Even though multiple things can be true at once, I do feel like she is telling the truth when she say like she feel like he's moving too fast and he's doing too much and he's smothering her, it's overwhelming and all of that. I just do also think that all at the same time there's a part of her that likes to be lied to because she don't know anything different from that. And so she's kind of one of those women that has to learn as she go. because she's kind of steady on the move. So it takes certain situations, interactions, relationships, and conversations and all of that for her to realize where she's been going wrong to keep attracting the same thing over and over again. For her to realize that she's attracted to something that is toxic, and she's going to have to go through a process of unlearning that and rerouting her attraction. Love is tricky, honey. It can be so simple, but it also gets very tricky off the backs of a lot of us being taught to do and accept so many toxic things in the name of love. But William tells her, look, get a clear view on what your feelings are, and if you need to make a break, make a clean one. Don't string this man along, have him holding on to your every word and whim, and then all of a sudden he stumble upon you at the movie theater, kissing and having popcorn with another man. So we get validation there that William is seeing a lot of himself in Marcus. I can understand why. But he's seeing a lot of himself in Marcus. So he's kind of relating to a fault, but also reasonably relating all at the same time. See these double-edged swords, the duality of it all, not to mention that love and money go together, despite the fact that one of the main toxic teachings that a lot of us have received is that you have to choose between love and money, when in fact, you can't have one without the other for real. Like, in order to maintain, you need a balance of both. Tune into my other videos if you want deeper conversations on that. But we end this scene with Joan getting a phone call from Marcus, just downstairs, saying that he already misses her. Thank you so much. Love bombing. But we pick up with Joan and Marcus out on a date. And this is where she makes her first attempt at breaking up with him. And it starts off with her saying, look, you're a really nice guy, and I don't like to play games. And he like, I don't like to play games either, you know, except Scrabble. Oh, okay, sir, thanks. And she takes him through this long rambling rant of, it's not me, it's you. And what I learned in boarding school is I might have self-esteem issues, and we get a think bubble of her acknowledging the fact that she is rambling out of nervousness as she do. And then she goes through her memory bank to see what guys have said to her that she's broken up with. Baby, this is bringing up to me. The episode right before this is called Hypocrisy. Tune into that review if you have not. And it's conversations about self-hate in that particular episode. And this particular conversation is revealing a slight continuation of that theme. It's just like popping up like a daisy, like, hello, still here. Because this is showing that Joan has some self-hate in a way, because really her and Marcus have a lot in common. And what Marcus is doing with her is likely stuff that she's done with guys that she's dated in the past, her exes and all of that. And here she is, in a way, about to become what she despised. So yeah, it's giving some self-hate in a way. You don't like to see yourself for real. You don't really like yourself for real. So you kept attracting dudes that didn't really like you, and now you've attracted one that actually likes you, and it reveals to you that you don't really like you. Though I don't think Joan really got that message, but the message is there. Whether Joan clocked it or not, the message is there. It's there for us to get and see. But the excuse that Joan pulls out of her memory bank is that she's moving to Peru. That's what one of her exes told her, that he was moving to Peru. So she done told this man that. And he's like, wait a minute, no. You can't do that because I love you. To me, that seems controlling and crazy, because they ain't been together that long. So again, whether he's intending to be crazy or not, and whether he's intending to be controlling or not, it's there. And again, that's also a mirror of Joan. We're learning things about Joan through Marcus. But now Joan is internally freaking out, of course. And she's like, oh no, now you don't tell me he loves me now. If I don't respond the right way, he's going to be heartbroken forever and dog out all the next women because I'm a heartless bitch. The reemergence of the male centering and feeling overly responsible for someone else's feelings and their actions. And her response to that is to have sex with him, which is common for a lot of women. So sad. Break every chain of that social conditioning, honey. Break every chain. And as we see them laid up, look like they had a great time with each other, okay? So there's some passion somewhere. All right. But Joan is like, in her little think bubble, oh, I hope I didn't send the wrong message. And then Marcus saying, thank you for choosing me over Peru. Now see, And that's an indication too right there that he got some control and possession issues and shit like that. And that what he feeling is really not love for real, because you didn't even ask like what the opportunity of Peru is. Like, what's in Peru? Is that gonna make your life better? Is that gonna bring you more happiness and more success and all of that? You ain't ask none of that. You just worried about what you can get out of the situation and your ability and possibilities to have her, to possess her. Even though she was lying, but still, like, if she was telling the truth, it's like you wouldn't give no fuck about none of that. Now you got it solidified in your head. It's like a trophy type shit, an accomplishment that you got her to choose you over something that could have been really great for her. And so, yeah, this also goes to show that men can also be pick-me's as well. Just shows up in different ways. This also showed us and Joan that she indeed sent the wrong message. And we pick back up at Joan's house with the girls. I imagine this is the next morning or the next afternoon, perhaps. But she didn't give them the lowdown on the hoedown. And Maya like, girl, you slept with him? Is that how you said diddy women kick your man to the curb? And Lynn says, look, what happened to your 3-month rule? The one you said that you wouldn't even break for Morris Chestnut? And John says, baby, I told you I would break my 3-month rule for a Morris Chestnut. That is what is called my 3 minutes rule. And Maya says it wouldn't take her 3 minutes to jump his bones. I heard that. But she is getting really into the fantasy of it. And so they looking at her crazy. Look, I would let her have it because it is what it is. And okay, they looking at her like that because she got a husband. She can fantasize about Morris Chestnut, even though she got a husband now. She actually see Morris Chestnut. Okay. And she jump all over that. Then y'all be looking at her like that. But let the girl fantasize shit. But she catch herself and it's like, you know, that's what I would do if Darnell was to meet some type of unfortunate accident or something. And John says, look, I don't know what happened. 1 minute I was free and clear, then the next minute we was in bed rolling in the sag. And Tommy says, baby, cut all it out. Fuck the bullshit. Just give us the dirt. Was he any good? And honey, I said they looked like they had a great time. And Joan confirms that she had a great time and that he was indeed good. Now you may ask yourself, well, they found passion through the sex. Is that enough? Some people might just be satisfied with it, you know? But on the real, you looking for actual love, solid, stable, well-rounded, wholehearted love, then no. No. Because the material things, the constant, you're pretty, you're beautiful, I love you, and then sex, that's lust. That's not love. It is lust. And lust can be an enhancer to love, but it's not good for it to be a foundation for love, you know? It doesn't have that type of stability. And that can easily turn into a fighting and fucking type situation that can easily turn very toxic. And that's not what Joan is looking for. So she's going to have to, you know, maintain her disciplines and figure out these boundaries that she is trying to set. And they all get it because they just glad that she done finally got some and that it was good. And she is conflicted because she's, you know, satisfied in a way. She got some type of instant gratification from it. But she's not totally satisfied because she don't love him and it's still not what she's looking for. And Tony is like, look, you finally got some, made the church say amen. And Lynn says, amen. And Tony goes back and it's like, baby, okay, so you had pity sex. Don't beat yourself up over it. Everybody has pity sex. That's why it's a word for it. Child Tony made a very good point. I believe that most people have had pity sex one way or another. Pity sex can teach you a lot. It's not something that you want to commit to or make a habit of, but pity sex can teach you a lot, just as it is teaching Joan a lot through this particular situation. And Maya started talking about, yeah, I know all about pity sex. I remember the first time he and Darnell had sex, I pitied all the women that wasn't gonna get none of that. Moments like this, though, I feel like Maya is overcompensating. I feel like she's trying to act more satisfied and secure in her marriage than she actually is. But again, we'll talk about Maya more in those senses when we get to episodes that focus on that. But John left her off and she's going to the door because somebody is at the door. And she's like, girl, all y'all do is have sex. And Maya's talking about, well, honey, you got to do something when you ain't got cable. That's funny. But again, I think that's another overcompensation. Because when you think about it, a large part of their bond is sex. Because a large part of the reason that they got married is because Maya got pregnant. But William is at the door and he got some paperwork for Joan. He's letting her know that the boss wants her in court with him the next day. And he's sticking his head all in the door trying to see who there and what's going on and all that, who it's for. Joan tells him, look, we having girls talk right now. No boys allowed. You can't come inside of me or my house. Use a little puppet, so just get to stepping. But he steps on in anyway. And Maya goes on to ask him if he's ever had pity sex. And he says he don't know if he's ever not had pity sex. Unfortunate. But William does kind of give that guy, you know, that girls would have pity sex with, because he's a nice dude, you know, and I can see a lot of girls coming across him and he's doing nice things. He got money, a lot going for him and all that shit. And they don't want to hurt his feelings or ruin him for the next chicks and all that. But so with him saying that, he goes on talking about, so who wants me? No, see, that's why you're not invited in the first place. Tony tells him, you have to be deaf and blind. And William started cutting the fool, talking about, what? Huh? I can't hear. I can't see. Where are you? What'd you say? And Lynn talking about, you know, I had sex with a deaf guy before. You know how hard it is to fake an orgasm with a guy who can't hear? I would imagine that is a travesty of a task. Then Joan tells William, okay, baby, you done shared enough. It is time for you to go. And he say, that's all right. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and leave y'all to y'all's hot lesbian action. He's so funny when he do that. But also, why do people, well, I guess I kind of know why. Because women are often socialized to beef with each other, so much so that when women have strong, solid relationships with each other, folks think it just got to be some gay shit. But of course, this is also William just being an ass and poking fun at them because they don't want him. So he like, well, y'all don't want me, so that's why y'all gay. And this is also him getting a little bit more satisfaction from just the thought of that. So they started throwing stuff at him and just literally throwing him out. And he like, okay, that's fine. You can throw me out, but you can't stop me from fantasizing. And Joan gets back to them and she says, hey, okay, y'all gonna be up here eating up all my food. Y'all gonna have to help me with my problem. I know I gotta break up with him. I just don't know how. And Lynn tells her, baby, you just don't want to be the bad guy. And she like, yeah, I don't. I ain't ever been a bad guy. I don't know how to handle that. I don't know how to handle the guilt. And Lynn is trying to balance the scales for her and tells her, baby, men don't have guilt, okay? I slept with the guy that worked at Blockbuster and he still ain't giving me no discount or Nathaniel. And to clarify from my perspective, and again, you know, I don't like the gender roles, men do have guilt, and I've seen that. I've experienced that. Men do have guilt. It's just a lot of time men do not overly sacrifice themselves the way that women are socialized to put everybody else's feelings before their own. Men are not socialized in that way, and therefore a lot of the time they don't do that. And there's a time and a place to, you know, think about other people before you think about yourself. There's a time and a place for that. But everybody also needs to know how to not be overly sacrificial. And that's what Joan is having to learn. And that's what Lynn is trying to impress upon her. Like, girl, you spending too much time trying to tiptoe around everybody else's feelings who clearly don't care that much about yours. So let it go. Free yourself. Free your mind, and the rest will follow. And Tony gives her, of course, the most selfish advice, talking about just string him along. Get what you can, and I'm going to get what I can, because Tony is still trying to work with him. So she feeling like, basically, in simple terms, if Joan just hold herself out to him, that ups the money that she can get out of him. Tony, that is. Coming from a transactional mindset of it all, if Joan just holds herself out for a good bit, that can up the ante on how much money Tony can get out of him. I cannot. But Tony saying this reveals even more craziness and the fact that this man is low-key, high-key controlling and something to be alarmed about. Because she says, you know, the deal is he gets you, you get a home, and I get a bonus and commission and some more shit, you know, whatever her rewards are from being the realtor that sells the home. And essentially, she reveals that Marcus is trying to get her a home. And that's why Joan is like, wait, he's trying to get a house for himself, right? Not me. And Tony further validates, going against her confidentiality clause with her client. She like, yeah, he put an offer in on a house for you, and I think that he's calling it the Joan home. See, Joan already got a home. And this is all too much too soon. And this is something a lot of people don't recognize is controlling, but it is. It goes under the thing of love bombing. Okay. And not only that, but also possessiveness, because you want to be able to keep up with where she at and what she doing at all times. So now you're going to buy her a house that you will have unlimited access to. And it's like you colonizing her life in a way. It's like you also kind of see her as a Mount Everest to be conquered. Also, it's like Joan's independence kind of threatens him, and he wants to take that away from her. Like, yeah, you can do this for yourself, but look at what I can do for you. Like, no, all of that can really turn into some deeper, more toxic, abusive ass shit. And you don't just go buying somebody a house and not getting their input on it first. That's a major step to make for somebody, taking hella decisions away from them. And it can be done with the best intents, but it is controlling and possessive nonetheless. And also, he is moving too fast, too soon. And Joan is like, oh, hell no. I cannot end up in a pity marriage with a pity home and pity kids having a pitiful ass life. Honey. Woo of the child. And Maya tells her, well, look, if you ain't got the strength and the courage to break up with him, make him break up with you. And Maya says, nag him. Be a bitch. Smash his PlayStation. Now, girl, it's some men that get turned on by that. And I ain't saying that that's a good thing. I'm just saying it's something to be aware of, because you go doing that and then he like it and then what? Crazy. Just crazy. And then if he don't like it and he decides that's enough of a reason to try to harm you, now you got a whole other situation on your hand. So yeah, no. And Mike said, look, I'll do it for you. I just go to him and I'll trash you, talk down on you, and just let him know that you ain't shit to be bothered with. You ain't Nathaniel special. And Lynn says, I want to do it. I've known her longer. I have so many things to work with. Like, I'll tell him that she don't shower on the weekends. Ma'am, first of all, you way too excited. And Mike says, no. I got to be the one to do it. And I could just tell him that she slept with all the partners in the firm to get her promotion. Girl, that would be so damaging to her reputation. No, ma'am. And Joan pretty much feel the same way. Like, ma'am, don't do that. Don't do that. And Mike's like, look, you want to get rid of this man or not? But baby, even that might not get rid of him. That might just turn him on too. And he just might see that as, oh, so she a freak of league, honey. I could do some things with that. See, She just needs to put her big girl panties on, put her dick on the table, let him know what it is and what it's gonna be. But they gone forth with the plan. Now, it's ambiguous as to whether or not Joan sent them on the mission or they just took it upon themselves to go ahead and do regardless of what she said. But we start off with Lynn. And she done showed up in a hustle and bustle all over the place. And it's like, my bad, I'm sorry, I'm late. But I just got to talk to you about Joan. And then she looks at the clock and sees what time it is. And she like, oh, shit, I got to go. See, I'm trying to break this stereotypical notion that black people are always late. And I realized that I'm almost late for somewhere else that I got to be. And she runs out on him. Po, lil, tink. Then we get Maya's quick scene, and she just jumped straight out the gate telling Marcus, Joan's a hoe. And Marcus telling her, no, not Joan. And Maya says, and she a devil worshiper. And he said, baby, I do not believe that. She said, okay, well, would you believe that you can turn $100 into $5,000 within just 3 weeks? See, I got this here deal. And I am screaming because she literally sounds exactly like them promoters. And how, like, you will go on a site that's like a subscription service, but they don't let you know it's a subscription service at first, and you think that you can just get on there and just mingle and pringle however you want to, and then boom, if you want to access this, you have to sign up for annoying as hell. Just like Snapchat now wanting you to pay for endless replays on the snaps. You can get the hell out of here. Child, don't get me started. But she started rambling on about that circle of gold stuff and talking about he won't need no woman after that. And we transition to Tony's segment. Interestingly enough, too, that both Maya and Tony are steady trying to sell him stuff. And Tony goes on to tell him, Joan has a lot of problems. And he like, yeah, so I hear. Now, what you got, huh? What you got bad to say about Joan? And Tony's saying, no, I don't have anything bad to say about her. I'm actually trying to put you on further to her, okay? I'm trying to put you on game on how you can reel her in for the better. See, Joan is very materialistic. And if you want to keep her, you're going to have to go bigger when it comes to the house. He like, baby, I already put down on a big-ass house. What more do you want from me? She says, bigger. That man said he been on a 4-bedroom with a guest house and a pool. And she said, bigger. House real big, car real big, dick real big. Let me tell you how I live. Like that, buy that, 24s, ride that, ladies, gentlemen, gangsters, pimps. We segue to William coming in. And they shake hands, sit, have a conversation. And William enters the conversation a little more sentimental and compassionate. And this is because Marcus actually called him because he is distraught and disheveled and confused and concerned because he can't tell if Joan is just some terrible Jekyll and Hyde ass person or do she got some terrible backstabbing friends. So William says, look, I'm going to help you make sense of all of this, and I'm just going to break it down to you. And then it cuts off there and goes ahead and transitions into the next scene, which is back at the ranch, back at the office, with Joan and Maya. And Joan opens the scene saying, you told him what? And William reveals that he told him that Joan used to be a man. Really, dude? Really, dude? I cannot. Now, what if Marcus was pansexual? Okay. Now, what if that was turning him on? Now, you got an even bigger problem on your hand. What if he was a bigot and he tracked Joan down and tried to off her or something? He done already made it clear that he will pop up. And he popping up for good things now, but it's like, dudes that be doing stuff like that, they don't pop up for the bad stuff, okay? Like, this man could be crazy and out his mind for real. Okay, so I think that the writers also wanted to show the dangers as well. You know, not the depths. You know, they didn't go too far because that would make this a whole nother show. But they wanted to show the downfalls of stringing somebody along and also not having boundaries. But Maya's up here talking about, you know, that would make a lot of sense. And she looking at Joan all crazy, and I believe she's getting it. Now, she gonna say, well, you know, you do get waxed more than any other sister I know. But, you know, they be cracking on Joan, too, because she got little titties. But Joan continues to fuss at William. It's like, who asked you for your help? And William says he did. And this is all your fault because if you had just handled your business like a woman, I wouldn't have had to tell him that you's a man. And she said, that do not make no sense. He said, look, I'm your friend, so I tried to help you. But also, on the other hand, you was dogging this dude, so take it how you get it. And he like, look, don't feel too bad about it. Ain't nothing wrong with being a transsexual. I mean, unless you've been accused of one and you're not actually one, you know? And she said, why would he even believe that I am a man? And William says it actually wasn't a hard sell. Now that's, you know, that's fucked up. That's an insult to Joan, because what? But also, I don't know, in a way that might be an insult to transsexual, transgenders also, because it's some beautiful, just like it's beautiful people in the world, period. So there are beautiful transgenders and there are beautiful women, you know, we're all people. We all come from each other. Men come from women. So in actuality, there aren't women that look like men. There are men that look like women. Yeah, no. But of course, the social conditioning of it all, terrible. Because again, they trying to say that because Joan is tall, hairy, and got little titties, that she could pass for a transgender. That's fucked up. Because everybody come in different sizes. Everybody grow hair. Okay, some more or less than others. Both men and women. And some men got big titties and some women got little ones. Okay? Stop the madness. And so I also want to know what y'all think. Do y'all think that this joke on this show, in this segment? Do you feel like it was handled properly? Do you feel like it's an outdated joke? How, if it's not handled properly, if the joke wasn't handled properly, what do you think would make it better? What do you think about the transgender joke being used in this episode, the way that it was used and all that? What y'all think about that? But she tells William she gonna kill him. And he says, you know what? Men are all alike, incapable of showing any gratitude. Disrespectful. Now, the next thing, Joan is at home having a glass of wine, and she's going through her lines, essentially. She's rehearsing her lines for how she's going to explain everything and make things right with Marcus in order to break up with him. And she's talking about, Marcus, I'm not a man. Oh, wait, that's too low. That's too low. Marcus, I'm not a man. I cannot. But honey, again, all men don't speak in their lower register. And some men's voices don't get as deep as others. And all women don't have little mew mew pew pew ass voices. And again, briefly, I think that this is a double-edged sword of a joke. I think that on one hand, it's outdated. And also, it being used at all in the way that it's used applies to the world of the characters. And the gender war, the gender struggle that the characters exist in, specifically Joan, because she is one of very few women, if not the only woman, that works at her firm. She's in a male-dominated industry, and that does have an effect on the energy that she is able to operate in predominantly. So Joan is often in her masculine energy much more than she's in her feminine energy. And due to the time period and the specific environment where they are in California and all that, the way that the characters respond to it and respond to her, it makes sense. The only thing I feel like is not so much based in reality is how Marcus would respond to that. On one hand, Marcus gives the type of man that wouldn't care about that, like that's not homophobic or transphobic or anything of that nature, but in real life that is something that you have to be more careful about. I wouldn't see somebody that truly cares about Joan telling the man that she's trying to break up with and that's already been being weird with her that she used to be a man or she's a transgender or anything like that, because they would have an understanding that that could be dangerous. That could be very dangerous because they don't know if he's homophobic or transphobic, So that's one part that I feel like is neglected here. But I can also understand if they didn't want to go that far into it because it may change the vibe of the show and like the theme, the network requirements and all of that. It would turn this into more so a drama, if you will, as opposed to a situational comedy that just has some drama in it, And getting into the phobias of it all would get very deep into a whole lot of drama, as opposed to showing how they ignorantly and limitedly respond to just the subject being there at hand. But I'm not trans, I'm educated on certain things concerning the gender and sexual fluidity of it all, but I am not trans, so it's a limited amount of information that I can give as it concerns the experience and how transgender people would respond to that joke. So again, what you think? Is it simply outdated and out of line? Is it done properly and appropriately? Or is it a double-edged sword? How I kind of feel that it's a double-edged sword. It's handled appropriately to the world of the arts, but at the same time, it neglects certain conversations that are important. But it's also understandable because of the theme and the intent behind the show, time period, and all that. And it might be only so much that you can give them when it comes to neglecting the dangers that would be present behind William telling Marcus that. Because it may be inconsistent for Maya's character, right? Because on the previous episode, Maya was so concerned about whether or not this man could be crazy or anything like that. So you would think that Maya would probably be a character that would pipe up and be like, William, you could have really put her in danger, something of the sort. And you don't have to go too deep into it, but just have a character like Maya mention, hey, sir, that could have been dangerous. And then just, go from there and keep everything else balanced. But, things to think about, but again, we can have that conversation in the comments. You let me know your thoughts. Now, in the middle of Joan going through her whole rehearsed spiel, Tony walks in looking to have sealed a deal. And she hands Joan a load of money, saying, here's all the money that I have owed you over the past 3 years. And Joan says, okay, you closed the deal. You got a new boyfriend. And Tony says, neither. Maya hooked me up with this real good circle of gold. And I'm like, bless your heart. But okay, it looked like you got a return on your investment. I hope you stop while you ahead. But you got a return on your investment nonetheless. And again, that shows that Maya got some good business talents on her. She just probably needs to learn a little bit more about the law. But okay, She got some potential. And Tony is letting her know that she finna go to the meeting that they got set up, and then they going somewhere else to celebrate. And John tells her, well, hey, congratulations. Now get out of my house before the feds catch up with you. Screaming! But y'all know Tony is trifling. So as she's leaving, she turns around talking about, what am I thinking? I ain't gonna be able to valet park. Let me get a little piece of that bag. And then she just run down a whole list of other things that she gonna need the money back for. And she's just like, you know what? Fuck it. I really just wanted to rub it in your face. And she snatched all the money back. Baby, the way we would have been fighting. And John yelled out at her, don't spend all your bail money. And as Tony is exiting, Marcus is entering. And he walks in, John is trying to explain, and he like, look, you ain't gotta say Nathaniel. I already know that you're not a man. I'm not stupid. But apparently you think I am. You've been up here playing all these goddamn juvenile games instead of just saying what it is. And I told you I wasn't back that. Only games I play is Scrabble. But fine, you wanna break up? We can do that. Just give me my damn phone back. And this is where Joan's toxicity shows. Because suddenly she's turned on by him being all stern and carrying on with her. And don't get me wrong. Sometimes, that can be a turn on. Like, you don't want to be with nobody that's a pushover one way or another. You want somebody that shows that they have a backbone. And that can be a turn on. Howsoever, when this man has been the utmost of nice to you, it was a turn off. But now he's snapping on you and you turned on. Unfortunate. But also, this here shows his possession again, his possessiveness again, where he is wagering that phone is something to hold over her head. And child, we segue from that moment, because of course, like I said, she gets turned on, and they end up back in the bed with each other. They end up laying the pipe all over again. And they clearly had a great time. And he's talking about, yeah, see, you put it down like that, I'm gonna have to go ahead and turn back on that Joan phone. And she says, I'm moving to Peru. And he said, it's fine. Do what you gotta do. I don't need you. Just give me my damn phone back. She said, please, it ain't gonna work this time. He said, well, you can't blame a guy for trying. And they end up having a good laugh. And that shows, again, that he may not have been totally intending to be controlling or whatever to her, but he does have some controlling ways that he would need to work on and work through. But it's good that he didn't have no violent reaction to her rejection. And this also shows, girl, you could have been broke up with this man. But at the same time, I don't know, because it seems like he might have had to go through all that hassle in order for him to just be okay with her trying to get away in the end. And if she had broke up with him in the first place, like just went ahead and said something, he might have been more pushy. He might have tried to do even more to like keep her and get her back and all of that. Hence, when she told him that she was moving to Peru the first time, his reaction was to say, oh no, I love you. See, yeah, he probably would have turned it up and tried to do even more to convince her of why she can't leave him, because he loves her so much. And her directness, even though the Peru thing was a lie, of course, but her directness about wanting to break up with him probably would have made him want her even more, just judging based off how he seems to think and move. And it seems like that whole spiel of the friends going to him to badmouth her and the way that she handled it did turn him off in a way. He was just still willing to give her another chance, but all at the same time, her being like, nah, it still ain't a go. He probably reasoned it in his mind like, okay, cool, it's fine, because you and your friends are crazy as hell, and I ain't trying to deal with it. But it would make you wonder what he'd do with somebody who don't have a crew. And we end the episode with just one final scene of Lynn meeting up with him again, child. She done been around the world and and clearly has missed everything that done gone on. And she's still trying to meet up with him so that she can tell him about John. And she's still unable to meet up with him because she's still late for somewhere else that she gotta be. So she just started repeating her own cycles of lateness. She done got a necklace with a clock on it and everything, and she still can't be on time. And she just accepted this time, like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and set this to CP time. Now, is that when people be having a clock set? I know CP time means color people time, but she said she's going to set her clock to color people time. So do that mean that she's going to set her clock like an hour or two ahead? So that it like gives her a higher chance of showing up on time? But that's the episode, honey. It gave us quite a few things to talk about and quite a few topics that will also be revisited and further unpacked in future reviews of future episodes. One thing I want to tap into further, though, before we head out is this thing about boundaries and the little small, somewhat consistent things that are going on in the background and kind of unseemingly throughout this episode in particular. Now, one thing that's not new is Joan's friends just walking in and out of her house as they please, going in her fridge as they please, Tony giving her things and then just taking it back as she please. And it can be reason to say, oh, they're just friends, they're just really comfortable with each other. But there are times when Joan says, don't do that. No. And they just continue to do it, which is a pattern of them overstepping her boundaries. People are able to just walk in and out of her house and in and out of her office, go in her refrigerator and all of that. Like even when William was at the door and she told him, we having girls time, you are not invited. He walked smooth past her. Like, fuck what you talking about. And of course it's happening also because she set up a pattern of that being okay. Even though it's not okay, but she don't stand 10 toes down on her business of her boundaries. And that's why her life be so messy also. And in the final scenes, like when she was sitting up there going through her lines of what she was going to say to Marcus, her patio door was wide open. And her front door to her house was unlocked. When Lynn walked in through the laundry room door earlier that day, now Lynn could have a key, but I don't know, it seemed like Lynn just walked in. So that means that Joan be sitting up in her house with her doors unlocked and wide open one way or another. When Tony barged in, she didn't close the door behind her. The door was still open. And all of that just shows again that Joan has damn near no type of understanding of boundaries. She has a very hard time implementing boundaries, even down to the fact that her doors are often always unlocked and or left open for people to just walk in and out, in and out, in and out of time. And that's also kind of how her heart is. People are able to just walk in and out, in and out, in and out of time. Just come and go as they please, taking from her. And while Marcus was giving a lot, as he was walking in and out of time in her space, in her office, in her house, and all of that, he was giving things, right? Material things. But he was taking a lot of control from her. He was taking decisions from her. He was taking time and space from her. He was taking her independence. And that was a large part of the issue. And I think another one of Joan's flaws is that she allows her friends to overstep her boundaries based off history, right? And he was not allowed to overstep her boundaries based off their lack of history because she didn't know him like that. And I think that's where the confusion between intimacy and a lack of boundaries come in. Because intimacy, you can be intimate and still respect each other's boundaries. And I might do a video on that in itself because that can be a very long conversation. And I don't want to make this video much longer than it's already in the neighborhood of. But all that to say, Joan has intimacy and a lack of boundaries confused. And when you think about what that could have turned into, like if they had built up the history and he had moved slow, what type of things would Joan be allowing him to do? Like if she had just continued that pattern with him and strung him along and eventually, like I said, build up the history with her being comfortable of him disrespecting her boundaries, where would that lead to? But with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this cow dry. And I'm thoroughly appreciative of the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quarters for the next time. And be sure to bless my comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways like love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.